A few years ago, we shared some of our favorite all-time Dolby Atmos movies, and we just loved hearing everyone's suggestions in the comments on that video. Now since then, so many more titles have been released in Atmos, so we thought it would be fun to revisit the topic and pick out some of the best ones so far in 2024. Now make sure you let us know your favorites in the comments and which ones that we need to try out next. Let's get started. Now, if you're watching this video, we'll assume that you most likely know what Dolby Atmos is. However, if you don't, or you just want a way more in-depth understanding of what it is and how it works, you have to check out our video linked below where we break it all down and even help you make sure that you have the correct components to experience it in the best way possible. Plus, we even have content on the best Dolby Atmos platforms, including how to find Atmos content on them to make it super easy for you. Now, these videos and all other relevant topics can also be found on audioadvice.com, where we have a massive library of articles, setup guides, home theater showcases, turntable reviews, our free home theater design tool, and just so much more. Now, our team here at Audio Advice just lives and breathes this stuff, and we love sharing it with others. Now, to help us continue to grow our huge library of content, we ask that you consider subscribing to us on YouTube and make your next purchase from our website, where we offer free shipping, expert support, and a price guarantee. Alright, let's get into our first pick. First up is Dune Part 2. Following up Dune Part 1 from 2021 was going to be a tall task, as we know so many people absolutely love that film and the Atmos soundtrack that's in it. In fact, we put it on our list as one of our favorites right after it was released. Now we're happy to say that Dune Part 2 does not disappoint. Director Denis Villeneuve and sound designer Richard King put such emphasis on the sound in this movie that it truly brought it to the next level. Now, the director's approach, like in Part 1, was to try to make it sound more like a documentary and have you feel as if you're actually in the movie yourself with very real and tactile sounds. And sound designer Richard King focused on his sound team capturing realistic sounds by using methods like burying microphones in the sand, going out to the Sahara Desert to record the wind in real sandstorms, recording massive loop ground sessions for the crowds in the movie, and just focusing on the movement of the sandworms instead of the vocalizations, among other things. Now, every small sound detail adds up to just really immerse you in this film. When you combine it with the score from Hans Zimmer, you get a sound that will just blow you away with its beauty and immersiveness. So one of my favorite scenes in this movie is called Launch the Atomics at around 2 hours and 13 minutes in. Now without giving in to any spoilers, this scene is where there is a large explosion and then a battle after ensues, and it is a must watch. The sound dances throughout the different speakers and sets you right in the middle of all the action. Now I just can't say enough about how good this movie is in Dolby Atmos. Now before we move on, I want to address how I actually watched all of these films. I utilized a home theater that I'm in right now, which is in one of our world-class showrooms. It's an 11.4.4 state-of-the-art JBL synthesis theater, which has powerful compression driver speakers and features a Trinnov-based processor. It also has a Kaleidoscape movie server for the audio side of things as well, and the video is also amazing in here as it uses the Mad VR NV Extreme and a Sony 7000 ES front projector onto a Stuart widescreen film screen. Now I'm going to leave a link in the description to a tour of this entire theater, and you can watch its transformation from our old theater to this brand new state-of-the-art one. And I'll also link to our content on what Kaleidoscape and the NV Extreme are in case you don't already know about them. But suffice it to say, I'm reviewing these movies with some of the best possible equipment out there for a home theater with dedicated in-ceiling speakers for the height effects in Dolby Atmos tracks. And while some of these movies can be streamed right now, like Dune is on Max, we would actually really recommend to stepping up to a Blu-ray or a Kaleidoscape, which will have a much higher quality soundtrack and just bring the Atmos sound effects to life. Okay, moving right along, our next pick is the movie Twisters, which is a fun new movie with a ton of great sound effects. In the opening scene, you get to witness the team chase a massive tornado, and you're placed right in the middle of the storm. The bed layer channels provide you with the wind that just whips all around you, and the Atmos speakers show off the rain and other effects in the distance right above you. Now, there are a few great action scenes in this movie, and I thought that they did a phenomenal phenomenal job utilizing the sound to make it incredibly immersive. The only thing that would make it even better would be to see it in a 4DX theater, which I haven't had the chance to do yet. Now, let me know in the comments if anyone has actually experienced this movie or any others in a 4DX theater and what your thoughts on it were. Is it worth it? Alright, moving on, perhaps one of the most iconic movies that we see people showing off in their setups is Mad Max Fury Road. The latest in the Mad Max saga is Furiosa, and boy was this a fun one. Right away in this film, you're placed in the woods with insects and birds just flying all around you, utilizing every single speaker. I was really blown away at just how immersive this scene was, and thought it was an incredible use of height speakers to send these small sound effects of the wild all around you to make you feel as if you're in the scene with the characters. Now, they continue this trend throughout the movie by adding in additional effects to the height speakers to continually make you feel like you're right in the middle of all of the action. Plus, the LFE in this movie will hit you right in the chest if you have some good subs in your system. Now, I do have to say, which I touched on a little earlier, when I first watched this film, I watched it on Max, and I decided not to include it on this list. However, I next tested it on Kaleidoscape, and I have to say, the sound mix was just so much better and cleaner, and really makes use of those height effects just so much better. So if you really want the most immersive sound from your movies, again, I'd highly recommend buying the physical disc or using a Kaleidoscape if you have one. Heck, the typical audio encoding for streaming is at 0.5 megabits per second, and that is half a megabit, not 5. Physical Blu-ray discs or Kaleidoscape gives you audio at 6 megabits per second. That is 10 times more audio data to make all those effects come to life compared to streaming. And finally, I want to add the movie Civil War to this list. Again, I'm not ranking these movies on how good I thought the film was, but rather just how good their soundtrack was, and more specifically, their use of Atmos effects. That being said, I found the entire soundtrack to this movie to be very well done. It's an emotional film where you follow a few photojournalists through a hypothetical civil war in the US, and you are exposed to some pretty gruesome and eerie scenes. Now, during a few scenes where there is gunfire, the bullets whiz by your head and almost make you feel like you need to duck to stay safe with the characters. It creates an alarmingly realistic feeling that is definitely the best part of the entire film. I thought that the placement of objects throughout the mix was just outstanding, and they utilized the Atmos platform just brilliantly. Now, my favorite scene is in chapter 12 and 13, where there's a battle towards the end of the movie. Explosions, gunfire, and more just shift overhead, whip around the room, and truly bring to life the dizzying and chaotic feeling of a lifelike battle. This one should absolutely be on your list if you want to experience some great Dolby Atmos sound effects. Now, we might go as far as to say that this might be the best Dolby Atmos audio in 2024 so far, but there's still a few months left, so we'll see if it takes the crown. Okay, these are just some of the best Dolby Atmos movies that we've watched and enjoyed in 2024, and I'm sure there are many, many more. Now, leave a comment down below of your favorites of this year so far and which ones that we need to try out next. And like I said before, if you want to learn more about setting up a Dolby Atmos home theater or media room, be sure to check out audioadvice.com, where we have everything that you need to get started, including our free home theater design tool, which lets you plug in all the dimensions of your room, and then it shows you exactly where to place your projector or TV, your speakers, your chairs, and everything else to be sure that you have the most optimized setup for enjoying movies. And be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on any of our exclusive new product launches, home theater tours, DIY tips and tricks videos, and more. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.